My question is, who are the Rohingya in Myanmar, and why are they being persecuted by the government of Myanmar?
I think you should not use emotive words like persecution, because what had happened in the Rakhine was violence, communal violence, and there were crimes committed by both communities. And when you focus on what one community suffers, then you create further hatred. I think we should look at it as coolly as possible. The first thing to do to diffuse the situation there is to think of it from the point of view of rule of law. And this is where your question, who are they, comes in. We have to look at it from the point of view of rule of law in three different ways. First of all, rule of law in the sense of handling crimes as they should be handled. That is to say, when a crime is committed, action must be taken in accordance with the fact that justice must not only be done but seen to be done. If this had been, if such action had been taking place in the case of the first crime that set off a whole series of communal violence, then I think we would not be in the situation we are today. Now that is the first requirement of rule of law. But rule of law must always be linked to human rights. Everybody's human rights, as I said earlier, must be sacrosanct. And rule of law must protect everybody and their human rights. And then there's rule of law with regard to citizenship. We have citizenship laws in Burma. And everybody in Burma must have the rights of a citizen in line with the citizenship laws. But we should go a step further and examine whether our citizenship laws are in line with international standards. That is the second step. And the third aspect of rule of law, which I think would help the situation, is to make sure that there are no illegal crossings of the border. This has added to the problems. Bangladesh claims that many Muslims come over from Burma and they do not really belong to Bangladesh. And Burma claims that a lot of Muslims who are now in Burma are actually people who have come over illegally from Bangladesh. It is very difficult to prove whether such assertions are right or wrong, because the border is so porous and so badly policed. So if we could take simple rule of law steps to contain the situation, then we can go on to the next stage of diffusing the tension and bringing harmony between the two communities. It's not going to be something that you can do overnight. Communal tensions have existed for decades, They erupted recently because of one crime that was committed and not handled properly. It focused on all the problems that had been existing between the communities over the last decades, but it all came to a head. And the reason why I do not want to use accusative words is because I want people to just sit back and think of ways of resolving the problems than of accusing. Accusations do not always diffuse problems. They do not always resolve problems. Sometimes the proper accusations should be made, but they should only be made after due examination of the evidence.